A sneak peek at what's coming up next.
I work with a hardcore right-wing guy, and I'm slowly convincing him that we might need a UBI at some point. There's a good chance that in 5 years, my job won't exist.
You really think 5 years?
Yes.
God, I think it could be next week.
Retail is not going to exist in 10 years. I mean, not the same way it is now.
I kind of pointed out to him the other day that as their generation continues to die, AI and robots and self-checkout can be more prevalent because we don't mind doing self-checkout. We don't mind as long as we get what we need.
Their generation voted for a lot of the things that caused housing to be as expensive as it is.
Yes.
Such as like, not in my backyard, meaning like we want people to be able to afford homes, but don't build them near me. I don't want my property values to go down. Build them somewhere else. I need that house that I paid 10 grand for in 1970 to be worth 1.5 million.
Exactly right.
You're gonna be 30 years old and living with roommates because rent is fucking $6 grand a month.
They claim there are jobs out there, and every time I say, yes, but how many of those jobs pay for a basic apartment here in town? Everybody says the same thing. Well, I mean, you got to make it work. How do you make it work?
Get ready for peak autism infotainment. Thrilling topics, amazing guests, great laughs, and autism.
On the Spectrum, an autistic podcast.
Welcome to another exciting episode of On the Spectrum podcast. My name is Nick.
I'm Steven.
And thank you so much for tuning back into our podcast. It's been a little while. We've missed you, and we're hoping you missed us. If not, that's fine too. We kind of do this for fun. But we've been gone for a little while, and that's because me and Steve have lives outside of being in front of this camera. So
we kind of short-staffed where I work. So
yeah, exactly. We had stuff we had to do.
We did a comedy show.
Yeah,
we've been working a lot. You were doing a play.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of been busy.
And actually, I'm now doing another one.
Yeah, a musical.
now I'm doing a musical. I'm not singing in it by any means. I am a narrator.
So today, I think we're just going to catch up on some things because it's been a while.
Yeah.
I might share. I think I have a few things that I've been kind of thinking about lately, and I haven't really talked about it with anyone. So I'm gonna throw some ideas at you. You can see how you respond to that.
He's just going to throw stuff at me and see how it flies.
Obviously, if you have anything you want to bring up too, but
sure.
A few things that I've been looking into lately. The stuff going on in Sudan and the stuff going on, obviously, in Palestine and in the Congo. Mm-hmm. Have you seen what's going on in Sudan?
Nope. No idea.
Okay.
I know. So I know a couple of folks have pointed out that people are all hard up on Palestine, but yet the Sudan thing, I guess, is worse.
It's really bad. Well, they're probably both equally bad, but the Sudan thing, I know that you're not one who likes to see things that are graphic, so I'm not going to pull up any pictures or images of you.
Thanks,
but
Steve.
the reason that I didn't really know much about what was going on there. There'd been kind of a civil war going on there for a while.
Okay.
But recently, I was at work the other day, and it was kind of slow, and I started looking through some Instagram reels, and I started seeing all of these videos coming up. So people are posting, the people who are committing these atrocities are posting videos online of them torturing people. So there's a bunch of videos online of them forcing people to dig their own graves and then shoving them in there.
Oh my God.
Running over people with cars on purpose, like making them lay down on the ground and like running over them and like stopping on top of them. Videos of them torturing women and children. There's mass graves that they're digging. So it's basically one side of the civil war is terrorizing the civilians on the southern side of Sudan. And they're just killing civilians for no reason. They're just,
oh my God.
In fact, if you go on Google Maps and you look at Sudan, if you go to the southern part of Sudan, you can see there's villages, and on the Google Maps, you can see giant piles of bodies and blood all over the sand.
Oh my God.
And some of the videos that have come out, like of them abusing children and stuff, is just crazy. Obviously, I didn't mean to see that stuff, but now that I have seen it, it kind of fucked me up a little bit because of what's going on over there. Obviously, there's a lot of shitty videos coming out of Palestine as well, like all the stuff that the Israel's been doing to them. But that's kind of something that's been on my mind.
It doesn't sound like it's anywhere near what's going on in Sudan.
I mean, the Israeli defense.
No, we don't need to compare and contrast here. But like, my God, hold on. You just. Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, they're basically
Side note, real
genociding
quick.
half of the country, like the whole southern part of the country.
How do you not purposely view that, Steve? Because
So,
like I know nothing about this. I've seen none of these videos. So
I was
like,
scrolling through just regular videos on Instagram, and for some reason, my Instagram feed has a lot more political stuff. And I hadn't seen any videos about Sudan until a few days ago, and this has been going on for like the past year or two. But recently, all these videos have been coming out of basically the people who are doing this. I forget the name of the group. Anyway, there's
so the North and the South. Got it.
Sort of, but there's these two sides of the civil war. One of the sides, the people have been posting these videos about basically just filming themselves torturing and murdering people and putting them online.
Oh my God.
Which is great because obviously it's not the people who are victims of it recording it. So it's people they're standing there and they're messing with people and they're kind of laughing about it, and it's messed up and it's dehumanizing.
Wow, I'm really glad we just came back to recording, and this is what we're going to talk about. So, what's the Civil War all about?
To be honest with you, I don't really know all the details of it. There was basically a conflict that started because of the government. There were people who weren't happy with the government in there, and there was a civil war that started about a year and a half or so ago. And there's two main forces that are going back and forth. And the side that's committing this genocide right now is allegedly funded by the UAE. So a bunch of people are mad at the UAE because they're funding the side that's killing.
Arab Emirates?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I don't know enough about it to like give you a deep dive or anything into the details of this conflict because I only recently started seeing stuff about it recently.
Okay, so...
But it's just been something that's been on my mind because of all the horrible things that are going on in the world. And there's also, like in the Congo, there's also still civil war going on there, and people
horrible shit there too.
Yeah.
So you once upon a time, and it's just, I don't know, I remember it now. But once upon a time, you said to me, "Why don't you know more about what's going on in the world? Shouldn't you know more?" This is why I don't know more, because I purposely try to avoid some of it. And yes, that makes me extremely willfully ignorant about how the world works, and I get it. But like, this is super disheartening.
But if you saw this stuff,
5, if not 30 different parts of the world where people are victimizing other people just because they're different or have a different ideology or some shit. Like, it's horrible that there's so many parts
a lot of the people
world
being
like
murdered
this.
in different parts of Africa right now are Christians who are being persecuted by non-Christians who are killing all the Christians. Trump's supposed to be sending some type of help, but I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that.
I wish I knew more so I could give you kind of an overview of the conflict and everything, but I haven't really read into it. But it's just something that I've seen recently, and that kind of stuff bothers me. I mean, I think it would bother anybody, but it's kind of like, if you saw a bunch of these videos coming up and saw what was going on there, I think it would kind of radicalize you a bit.
But Steve, in this country, people are victimized. Not that bad. Sorry, it like.
You've seen the video in Palestine of like this little boy went to get food. He was starving, and they gave him food, and then the IDF shot him after he walked away.
No, I did not see it, mostly because I avoid videos of horrible
graphic shit. It's like a 7-year-old boy.
I avoid horrible graphic shit. Call me cynical, call me jaded, call me whatever you'd like in this regard, but this is why I avoid it, because I know this shit all happens. I know this shit all exists in the fucking world, and there's not a goddamn thing most of us can do about it, because people are going to hate. People are going to have shitty days. People are going to treat each other like ass. Like, and
I think there's a combination
of hope in people, but unfortunately, they keep proving me fucking right that most of us don't deserve the breath we breathe.
I mean, obviously, it's complicated. There's a lot of different forces at work, but like, you know, in Israel, the stuff going on there has to do with the Israeli government. You know, like
and like 2,000 years of history or some shit.
And well, Netanyahu and like what the Israeli government's been doing, and then the stuff in Sudan, like I said, I don't really understand the full conflict. I just know it's a result of the civil war. But it's just, people. I think there's sort of the what do you call it? It's like kind of the psychological effect there of like the mob mentality. These people
The
they
othering effect.
dehumanize the other side, and then they kind of justify anything they do to them.
Right.
Which they did in Rwanda. Remember what happened in Rwanda in the 90s?
Oh yeah, they made a great movie with Don Cheadle about it. Which I
they did the
watch
same thing.
movie.
They dehumanized the whole ethnic group in Rwanda and decided that they weren't worth keeping alive.
Well, because that's how you convince people to do bad shit. Is you make the other side faceless. I know this shit happens all over the place, and I know it will not end. Like that's the thing. I guess that's the thing that makes me the most cynical. I guess, or makes me the most asshole. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe somebody can fill me in on a word that makes sense for this, but. I know all this shit exists, and I know people are going to do this, and I know people are going to continue to do it because, like, I have, and I want to have the utmost of hope that people can do better, but I know ultimately they can't. Somebody's going to hate somebody else, and they're going to convince their best friend to hate them too, and that's going to spiral out of control until one group of people is slaughtering another group of people.
A product of desperation. So like when you're when you're in a situation, I mean, what I'm saying is that I think you would avoid more of these types of conflicts if people weren't already suffering.
Yes.
So for instance, the reason why we've had relative peace here in the United States is because we haven't had a period of time, maybe since the Great Depression, where people were really like struggling to survive. Right. But if all of a sudden nobody could afford to feed their family, and let's say income inequality became worse in the United States, I think you would start to see more, group-based violence here. But in other parts of the world, these places, most of the places that these things are happening, with the exception of Israel, because Israel is a relatively rich country, but these other places are poor. And so, if these people are poor, I think that it's much easier for people who are struggling to survive to to place the blame on someone else.
Well, I actually said this to a coworker who didn't want to believe me, but he's also a really old man. And he's actually an old man, Steve, not just you calling me one. But I said this to him the other day, that desperation breeds all the problems that we have in the United States. If people weren't desperate, they wouldn't have a need to steal. If people weren't desperate, they wouldn't have a need to turn to drugs the way they do. If people weren't desperate, they wouldn't need assistance programs from the government. Like, all of the issues are taken care of by us taking care of people. And I don't mean just giving people things. If we made sure that if you have a job, you are taken care of in that job, then we don't have desperation.
I work with a hardcore right-wing guy, and I'm slowly convincing him that we might need a UBI at some point.
Yes.
Because we were talking about...
my God.
Most of my life I would have been against the UBI.
I know.
The only reason why I'm kind of open to the idea of it now is because what do you do? Like, we have AI. So for instance, my job, right? There's a good chance that in 5 years, my job won't exist.
You really think 5 years?
Yes.
God, I think it could be next week.
I have information. I don't really want to get into the interworkings of my company, but there are things already in place.
Yes.
To replace us.
No, I honestly believe they could probably replace you in the next 30 days.
I think it would be a little bit difficult, but they have the groundwork there to replace, and they've already started replacing people in call centers and things like that. Retail is not going to exist in 10 years. I mean, not the same way it is now.
No,
I think you'll still have.
10 years ago, I heard people talking about retail that way.
Well, you'll have like grocery stores and stuff like that, but I'm saying like eventually it'll become cheap enough that you can just replace all the employees or most of the employees with computers and AI.
Well, yeah, and especially as the boomer generation die off more than they already have, and
what if you have a robot that can restock all the shelves in the grocery store?
The point I'm trying to make is, like, I work at a store where predominantly most of the customers are very old people. Most of my employees are much older than I am, and they constantly badmouth AI, and they don't like computers, and they're anti technology.
That's my next topic, actually.
Okay, so they're anti-technology. And I kind of pointed out to him the other day that as their generation continues to die, AI and robots and self checkout can be more prevalent because my generation And for those of you who would like a nice reminder, I'm 45. I was born in 1980. I'm the ass end of Gen X.
The forgotten generation that no one cares about.
Yes, exactly.
Everybody talks about millennials and
but-
boomers and Gen
Yeah.
Z, but nobody talks about Xers. They just kind of forget about you.
Yeah. Well, also because, we learned how to shut the fuck up finally because we knew talking didn't work. But anyway, but we don't mind doing self-checkout. We don't mind as long as we get what we need, right?
I think
I don't mean to speak for the entire generation. There's probably some of you who
Say
give a fuck about
pretty
other
much-
human beings.
Millennials and Gen Z are the same way. Most
Yeah.
millennials, Gen Z, and they prefer to do self-checkout.
Yeah.
The only time I don't do self-checkout is if I have way too much crap that I can't fit it in the little tiny, because usually they have a small area to check out. So then I'll go through the regular checkout.
COVID proved to me that I can use that self-checkout for a huge assortment of
you
shit.
can with a large cart, but it's more of a pain because you have to kind of shuffle things around.
Whatever.
There's not enough space.
Whatever. I'm all right playing Tetris.
The other reason I don't like Market Basket is because Market Basket doesn't have self-checkout. They only have
People.
Yeah.
People, which have tendency to fuck shit up, by the way. Just so you know, like every time somebody tells me computers fuck things up, no, they don't. A computer does what you tell it to, and that's it.
So back to the original thing I was saying.
Okay.
So I've kind of convinced my right-wing coworker that we might need a UBI, but just by asking him questions, kind of Socratic method, like, so what do we do with these people and he's like, well, they could do work like trade jobs, and then we need people to run the AI or to fix computers. Like, yeah, but do you think that there's enough of will there be enough of those jobs available for everybody?
No.
Can everybody become a plumber? Can everybody
No.
become a carpenter?
No.
Because you'll still need tradespeople.
Yeah.
You'll still need people to fix stuff. But I don't think the number of people that would be displaced by AI and automation and robotics is greater than the availability of other jobs, I would say. And it's like, I know people will say, well, what happened with the horse and buggy switching to the car and all these other, and in the industrial era of the late 1800s, right?
Yeah, people lost jobs.
But yes, there were, but this is way different because I think the number of people displaced during like the industrial era and the assembly line and all those other big great inventions that we've had, I think that this is much different because it has the capacity to replace way more people than we have in the past, in my opinion.
So even when it comes to trade jobs, and I know some of the people who don't listen to this show are going to argue with me, but they don't listen, so fuck them. Houses can now be made with fewer people because of different materials that they're using and they're testing out now. And also, there's the 3D printed houses.
Yeah, I've seen those. It's like 3D printed concrete.
Yeah, and from the reviews that I've seen of them, even though the houses end up costing the same amount of money, it's fewer people on the job site. And they apparently are
probably less
sturdier.
chances for mistakes.
Yeah.
As long as you program it correctly and you have like the design correct.
Well, so I watched an interview with a guy who's got a company that does 3D printed houses, and he actually said that even if the machinery makes a mistake, okay, he can scrap that part of it, flatten it out, or get rid of the old concrete and start over faster, easier, and still cheaper for himself than if like somebody fucked something up along the way and they had to rebuild the house.
Yeah.
And he's got fewer guys on the work site, which means he's employing fewer people. But he did say, though, he pays the guys who are there more money than he normally would.
Step 4, profit.
Yeah. Well, he said he pays his guys more, the guys who are there more than when they were building regular houses.
Did you know that the average senior leadership or CEO in 1970 made roughly 11 to 20 times what the average worker made?
Yeah, and now it's something.
Do you know what it is now?
Or 400 or 500%.
It depends on like what you're comparing, like
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
senior leadership versus like a CEO, but it's somewhere between 170 and 400%.
Yeah, that's crazy. At the same
so
time,
middle
I
class,
don't blame them for the reason why I'm poor.
middle class wages. Well, so all the jobs that used to make people middle class don't really exist, and if they do exist, they just wages have become stagnant, and all of the profit that these companies have made because companies are more profitable now than ever. We have way more efficient ways to do our jobs, so like people can get their work done faster. But all of the extra money these companies are making doesn't ever get down to the actual workers. It just funnels up into senior leadership.
Right.
So senior leadership is making way more than they used to.
So let's go back to the UBI thing, because we actually did a full episode of your thought experiment about a UBI. No, that was not about a UBI. That was an autistic city, autism community. But
I think I did like a autistic commune.
yeah, that's right. It was Autistic
Socialist.
Commune. That was a previous episode. Go back, watch that episode, or listen to that
What if
episode.
we had
and come
a
back to us.
socialist autism paradise?
Yeah. But UBI, because I did bring this up in a previous episode in like 2 years ago, like I think when we first started, and somebody in the comments said a UBI can't work. You need to look it up. It'll never work. Right. And I have looked up some of the cons of a UBI, or at least the supposed cons of a UBI.
There are some issues with it, which I can share what I've looked
Please,
into recently.
Please.
So I was curious as
Okay.
to like how you would make it work, because my thought process was you would replace all of our current social programs. Obviously, we have a problem right now with Social Security, right? It's Social Security takes up a huge part of the U.S. budget, and it doesn't really,
and yet it's not good enough.
it doesn't really fund itself. So what I would say is get rid of all the current programs we have. So get rid of food stamps, get rid of SNAP, get rid of disability, get rid of all those programs, and everybody gets a UBI, and you could even scale it. So I tried running the numbers using an AI. So the reason why I used the AI was to do the math for me because it can do everything very quickly.
Yeah.
So I figured out, even if I ended up taking it, I started out where everybody gets a certain amount, and then I had to cut it down to where if you make over a certain amount of money, you get X amount. I think it was like let's say $35,000 a year for everybody.
Oh, you did it yearly.
Well, the monthly, but if you calculate it for the yearly budget, even if we cut all the social programs we have now, and we limited who could get it, so I have to be over a certain age, and you have to make under a certain amount of money, you still have like $3 trillion deficit. Like we don't take in enough tax dollars in order to pay a UBI. And even if you factor in the money that people would spend when they get it, it still doesn't make up the amount.
Okay.
That's the biggest issue is there's no way to fund it right now.
There is.
Okay.
There is.
So how would you fund it even if you have a $4 trillion deficit?
So how do you think, all you did was take away social programs, right? What about tax and companies?
No, I did. That was part of the equation too.
Well, you didn't say that.
Well,
part.
because
you
when
just said we have a $4 trillion
so when
deficit.
I ran the math, and I don't have it pulled up right now, but I could probably go into my ChatGPT history and look for it. I started out with just a blanket UBI, and just cutting, replacing all of our current social programs.
Yeah.
But the deficit was too high, so I started trimming things, and I started adding like a VAT tax, and then I started adding corporate taxes to help pay for it. And even after trying to mess with the taxes and everything, it was still like a huge deficit.
What was the monthly dollar amount for the people who qualified for it in your system?
So I ended up, in order to get the number down, it ended up being like if you made under the poverty line, you got the full amount. If you made let's say the poverty line in the US is like 35,000 a year, whatever.
What was the full?
The full amount you would get,
what
I
was
think
the
it was
full?
like $35,000 a year.
Okay, so what if everybody just got $1,000 a month?
Yeah, that would still be $12,000 isn't really going to be enough to help you if everybody gets replaced by AI.
Well, so the reason why I say 1,000, because I'm not saying if people get replaced by AI, I'm just saying a UBI in general, right? Because remember Andrew Yang proposed that when he ran for president.
Yeah.
That every citizen above the age of 18 gets $1,000 a month, period, right?
Yeah.
And as long as that $1,000 is completely spent, supposedly we would have enough money to give people more to continue that. Supposedly.
That would be okay possibly for now. I think you might, unless you cut spending in some other place federally, then you would create more inflation unless you decrease spending somewhere else. However, but as far as my main issue, the main reason why I was interested in a UBI is because of automation replacing people. Because what are people going to do if they can't work? If most people in the country can't work, you end up in a situation where you could have civil unrest and you could have civil war, violence.
Yes, because people will become more desperate, and there will be more people who are desperate. And all the whiny assholes who just bitch and moan about social policies right now, that would be a real reason to actually fucking cry and think you live in hell. because there would be even more crime. There would be even more poverty. There'd be even more homelessness. There'd be even more issues, right? Because that's what people do when there are issues. They turn to drugs. They turn to trying to avoid it, the pain they're feeling or whatnot. They get desperate. They will try
Or they
anything
lash
to
out
fucking
and
eat.
commit violence.
Yeah, or they commit violence, right? Like fucking they'll have... Goddamn, the amount of people on death fucking row that we're fucking funding every goddamn year. And I understand some of them are innocent. I understand that, but I'm kind of cold-hearted and a prick. Why don't we just waste all of them and not spend that much money every year? And when we find out that we were wrong, we then pay the family. I know that doesn't replace grandpa, but grandpa was in prison for 35 fucking years. All right. I know that was so cold-hearted. I know, but
Well, we've already had that debate before. You know why I'm
I know
against the death penalty.
I know. And you know why I'm for it. Because there are people on death row that need to fucking die. Like, we know they confessed what they did. We have the evidence to support it. And yet they still sit on death row for a fucking decade when we're paying for it. But anyway, back to UBI. I understand the concerns about automation. And yes, people have tendency to say, well, they can go into the trades. Less and less people are able to go into the trades. And for one, because there's less trade jobs than there were like fucking 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And people are building less, supposedly.
I think there are
By the way,
still
supposedly, I didn't look that up.
I think there's still a lot of demand in certain trades. Like, I think there's still a big demand for plumbers in certain types of trades, but even still, there's not enough jobs for everybody.
I was about to say, so like, I got a bunch of plumbers that come into the store I work at, and like a ton of them are complaining that there's not enough work. And like, that's just currently, but also that could be in the area we live in. Sure. But also, like, one guy said, people just don't want to go into plumbing because they have to, deal with human filth,
Yeah.
know, like, and he said, that's not a desirable job. And I said, then why did you go into it? He said, because I wasn't smart enough for college. So his own personal belief made him a plumber.
Did you notice? So you work with a lot of older people.
Oh,
Do you notice?
I do. And I don't dislike any of them.
I was working the other day, and I think there was something in the water in Newport because I had an old man who started screaming for no reason. He came in, and he was like, oh, I need to get a phone for this lady. She's in the hospital. I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, do you know her number? And he's like, no. He's like, gives me your name. I'm like, I can't look it up by her name. I need the number. Right. So he starts scrolling through his like recent calls looking for her number. Yeah. And he's like trying to give me other details about her. And I'm like, I was trying to nicely explain that, like, oh, I need like an account number or something. He's like, he screamed. He's like, I'm fucking looking. I'm like, all right, dude, calm down. What the fuck? Well, he screamed twice.
Yeah, but he said she's in the hospital, right?
Yeah, I think he's a friend of hers. And he's frustrated because he's trying to help her, I guess, but he seems like he didn't really want to help her.
So his friend is in the hospital. Let's assume that friend is roughly his age. Maybe she's dying.
Possibly, but I still think that if you're a grown-ass man, you should keep your shit together a little bit.
Yeah, I can't wait until you have to deal with something drastic like that.
I would not take it out.
And I'm around.
I would not take it out on a employee at a store.
Dude, I've seen you take out a bad day on random people.
So anyway, I don't know about that. But this guy, this just in general. So I work with, another old guy the same day, he was yelling at one of my coworkers. Yeah. And he said that my generation and the younger generations have ruined the country.
That's it.
And that it's our fault that we can't afford a house and then we can't, and the groceries are too expensive.
Yes.
And this is coming from the boomer generation.
Yes.
Who
like buy a house for $35,000 or some bullshit.
Who like to point out that, not only was income inequality not as bad back then, but things were more affordable. But inflation wasn't as high.
But income inequality was worse.
Their generation voted for a lot of the things that caused housing to be as expensive as it is.
Yes.
Such as like, not in my backyard, meaning like we want people to be able to afford homes, but don't build them near me. I don't want my property values to go down. Build them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because, I need that house that I paid $10,000 for in 1970 to be worth $1.5 million. I'm not even kidding. There's houses near where I work that are worth over $1 million that people were telling me. These old people were like, oh, I paid $8,000 for it back in 1970. It's like, okay, now it's worth $1.5 million. I deserve that.
No, you don't. You did nothing for it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Besides hold on to your house?
Yeah. Besides keeping your house up.
and not allowing other people to build houses near you so you can keep the property value high.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I find. That's the one thing that's been irritating me lately, besides the other stuff I mentioned, is just like dealing with kind of this entitlement that a lot of older people have, specifically like a lot of the boomer generation. It's not all of them, obviously, but they're. I hate to generalize, but like my job has made me a little bit ageist. Working with old people has made me like hate old people a little bit.
On your Facebook, you make so many posts of boomers boomering.
Yeah, because they're fucking ignorant. Like the other thing is like the one thing that I find annoying, right?
Yeah.
So I had another old couple come in the other day. This old boomer couple. They come in, right? They bought their phones somewhere else, and they come in and they say, "Hey, can you help us set up our phones?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I was like, oh, by the way, like if you turn the phone on, it actually like walks you through transferring everything. Like, oh yeah, we can't do that. Or like, we don't do that. We're not good with technology. But to me, it's like, you're not even willing to try. Yeah, even though like when you turn something on, right?
Yep. I've got to come to the defense of these people.
It's the lack of even attempting. Because so if you never even try, you're always going to be helpless.
Okay.
If you don't try to do anything yourself. So I understand like people can be bad at technology, but you turn the phone on, even if you don't know anything, just read what it fucking says on the screen. Okay. It says, which language do you want? You hit English.
So
it might take you longer than it takes me.
I want to point something out because you just said, right? They're not willing to try.
Correct.
Yes, because they were taught if you try, you will fail. Or you could fail, and the fear of failure is that strong that they're not willing to try new shit.
I don't know about that. Like
I do,
setting up your phone.
Again, I'm dealing with people who are rather old, and that's what they tell me is when they were growing up, they were taught that if you're going to do something, make sure you do it well or don't do it at all. And so when they're resistant to technology, it's because they know nothing about it and they don't want to fail. One guy.
Hold on, I would argue that if you know, I know you're not super good with technology either, but you know how to use your phone, right?
Yeah.
If you know how to use your Android phone, and for these people I get, a lot of them are iPhone users. Yeah. If you know how to use your iPhone, you can. There's no way you would not be able to set up your new phone on your own. You literally just follow the directions on screen. It's one button. You click the button, click next, click next, click next.
I understand how easy it is to do it. I've done it several times now.
But they don't even try.
But I was also raised to try. Right? Like I was raised at a time where they started teaching. You have to try and it's okay to fail.
You can have whatever, like you can defend them all you want. I'm saying it's annoying to me, like the helplessness.
Because you don't want to give a shit about their frame of reference to it.
Because they come in and they waste my time. Like I try to help these people.
Yeah, I can only imagine how much of a waste of time they find it to be to have to talk to you. I mean, come on.
Then don't come in. Do it yourself at home.
God.
They come in. The problem is
you would not have a job if nobody showed up anymore.
It's that they take up time and then they act entitled. And like it's just like because they don't understand the technology and stuff. Like one thing that I find irritating is like a lot of older people don't know what Meta is. They don't know what Apple is. They don't understand Google.
Shit.
So if let's say they have something on their phone, right? If they can't use their phone, or let's say they can't get into their Gmail account, they'll come and ask me. I don't fucking know how to fix your Gmail. You're the one who locked yourself out of it.
How do you? I know you know how to fix their Gmail.
Yeah, but it's not my job to fix their fucking Gmail account. No. It's not my job to fix their Facebook account. And then like I'll help an old lady try to get back into her Facebook account, and then I find out she got blocked for saying racist shit online. That's why you can't get into it. She's like, "Oh, can't you do anything to help me?" I'm like, "No, stop posting fucking the N-word on grandma on Instagram, grandma." Jesus. I'm not joking. This is serious.
No, but that's hilarious. Sorry. So a guy who may or may not work with me. A couple weeks ago, he came to me and he said, I started a social media account, and within the same day, I was told I was banned for 30 days. And I said, what were you looking at? And he said, nothing, just political stuff like I always do. And I said, okay, what kind of political stuff? And he said, well, I was really interested to find out about a certain group of people. And I went, okay, what people? And he was talking about 1940s Germany.
Yeah, but even looking that stuff up wouldn't get you banned.
Hold on. So apparently he commented on a photo, and the comment, which he would not tell me what the comment completely said, he just said, they think I was supporting an uprising of that group again. And I said, I don't know how you word something in that way. I don't know how you word something to make that fucking social media. Oh, it's because of those damn AI. No.
You don't find it
it's
a little
not.
bit irritating that these people, by these people, I just mean I'm speaking generally
Yeah,
about
yeah.
these older
We're
groups of
talking
people.
General terms here.
They generally, I mean, most of Congress are freaking boomers, and they don't understand how any of the modern world works for the most part.
Yeah.
They don't understand technology, and that
Sure.
you're the ones in control of everything. They're the ones running our companies, running our businesses,
Yeah.
and they don't fucking understand a damn thing.
Yes.
That's a little irritating.
Not so much.
Especially since in previous generations, you know, you let go of the reins of power at some point. But no, boomers have been
when did that happen?
boomers have been running our government for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
Because you still have people in there who have been in Congress for 30 years.
Dude, old people have always been running the country. Name a time when Congress's average age was below death.
There were a lot of younger people there, but they're still there now. That's the thing.
How
long was Joe Biden in Congress?
40 years?
How long has Nancy Pelosi been in
30
there?
something years?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's 2.
There's plenty more. I could.
AOC's young as shit.
She is, but that's one exception.
What about what's her name? The Muslim woman.
Ilhan Omar.
There you go. And what about the
Marjorie
guy?
Taylor Greene? She's only been there for what, 10 years?
She's not young.
No, but
She's in her fucking Lauren Boebert is young. She's in her 30s, I think.
Well, those are a bunch of people who came in during like the MAGA era. But
dude, I'd also like to point
we're also talking about like
average age of
representatives.
Congress has always been old as dirt. Okay, it's always been old as dirt. I can't imagine there's ever been a sitting session of Congress that had an average age of below 65.
I'm pretty sure that Congress used to be mostly made up of like 40 somethings.
No, maybe in the 1800s when people didn't live past 60. But by the way, I'm just kidding. I don't have any idea how long people live.
But it's also the fact that they stay in there forever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get it. But people keep voting them, by the way.
You got like, what's his face there? That Republican guy. What's his name?
Mitch McConnell?
Mitch McConnell's like freaking senile.
Well, I thought he left already.
Did he?
I thought he got voted out. No, he retired.
But yeah, they're old as dirt.
Yeah, I get it. It's just, but there's always, and people keep voting for them. And one of the reasons why people keep voting for them is because people your age don't really vote. And people younger than you don't really vote. It's not until
even
people get into their 40s.
I don't even think it's that they don't
have
vote.
shit
It's just that younger
invested.
people aren't running for office.
Yes, they are.
Or if they run, they have a hard time beating the incumbent who's been there forever.
Because people their own age don't even vote for them.
What about Mamdani just won?
Yeah.
The socialist.
So the one-off exception, we're going to talk about that instead?
No, I was surprised that he won.
Yeah, I was very surprised too.
I have a feeling that he's going to get JFK'd. So
that's sad. I just think
because I think
that's
he's
going to happen. But
I think
he won't
he's
get shit done.
He's
Not
not part
because
of
of him,
He's not
but-
part of the club. I think because he's outside of the club that somebody's going to
so
take
he
him
won't
out.
be able to do much of shit. I got it. What's her fuck? Michelle Wu just got reelected for
In
mayor
Boston?
of Boston.
Yeah, I don't really care about Boston. But
Well, I'm pointing out she's also younger. I think.
you know, actually, I found this
think.
out about Massachusetts about a month ago.
Yeah.
So when taxes are collected
Uh-huh.
in a state,
Yeah.
typically the state redistributes a lot of that money back to towns,
Right.
to help pay for things like roads and schools and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the local towns raise some money through taxes, mostly property tax,
Right, excise
but
tax.
an excise tax. But the state income tax usually goes state sales tax and income tax, all that stuff usually gets redistributed to most of the towns.
Yeah.
What I found out recently that's interesting is that Massachusetts is not only below the average for all 50 states as far as how much money the state takes in versus how much they give percentage wise, what they give back to the towns, because we're also one of the highest tax states in the country.
Yeah.
But we give less money back to the towns than almost any other state. It's way below the average. That means most of the money is being spent or kept by the state, and that it's actually becoming an issue because a lot of towns and cities throughout the state are not able to fund basic things they need. They're not able to get things repaired. There's schools that don't have enough money for anything because they're not getting any of the state tax dollars. I found it interesting that even like states like New Hampshire or states that have lower taxes give a higher percentage of the taxes back to all the towns. I just thought that was interesting.
I mean, it is kind of interesting, and I'd have to read more into that if I was going to say anything about it. I hear people complain about the age of Congress a lot, and it's usually somebody younger, and they say, well, if we had younger people, they'd take care of what younger people want. No, I don't think they would. I think that they would try, but I think the average age of Congress will always remain old, because you need people who have families, who have property, who get affected by a lot of the fucking laws to fucking vote and be there. Do I think Congress is effective? I don't think they've been effective for a really long fucking time. But I think every now and again, Congress does pull off something that does benefit people, at least a majority of people. But I don't think you can change that. I think you're always going to have an average age that's old as fuck, because people keep voting them in. Like shit, the town I live in, Taunton, just had an election for city council and mayor, and city council, 5 of the 9 seats for city council are the same incumbent people. And like, if you look at like any of the posts in the Taunton Facebook groups, people bitch and moan about these guys left, right, and center. Very few people support these guys, but yet they got voted back in.
Well, a lot of times they run
all old.
When you look at a lot of state and local elections, a lot of times people run unopposed.
Well, all of these people had opposition. I
don't know about Taunton. I'm just saying in general.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
When you look at the local and state ballots, a lot of times there's only one person running for the position.
Well, I mean, again, so people who are your age and younger need to step up then.
Yeah, we need people in their 30s and 40s to run for office.
Right. If you guys want something to actually get done different to support what values you supposedly have, then you and your ilk need to get to
I think it's a good idea to
run.
To mix things up once in a while and to have a diversity of opinions and ideology. Because I think that states and governments can get stagnant, especially if it's kind of an echo chamber where everybody just agrees with each other.
But unfortunately, it becomes stagnant because nobody bothers to step up. And then finally, when somebody new steps up, they make such a stink about things. They make such a peacock effect at themselves that they don't end up getting voted in, because people are like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know about this lady. I don't know about
a lot of times there's no easy solution for things. Like I know in Fall River, one of the biggest issues here for a long time has been the trash disposal and the amount of money that it costs. Yeah. But people are not willing to pay more taxes to fund the trash removal.
You mean for proper sanitation?
But the city loses a bunch of money on the taking care of trash because it's expensive.
Right. You mean opposed to people taking care of shit? So a guy I work with believes that we need to have term limits in Congress. Okay. And I told him what my American government professor once said about term limits. Now, he actually used to work in DC at one point, and he worked for one or two Democrat senators and a Republican senator. And he said pretty much it takes at least 2 terms to figure out truly how to work that job. So having term limits of 2 terms is pointless. Because
there's going to be some happy medium between like 2 terms versus 30 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? The person who's been doing it for 30 years, what did they do with that 30 years? I think that's a more important question, is what did you do with your 30 years? Right? Yeah. I think at some point, if the best you can say you did was you didn't fuck anything up, I think that's a problem. Because your job is to make sure you're taken care of. Here's something I think, and I've been talking about this all this week with people because we had the election in Taunton. I think all elected officials, from city council all the way up, distribute the money whichever way you want, but all the way up to like federal Congress. I think all of them should only be paid the median amount for the people they represent.
That's right. They'll just make money through corruption and insider trading anyway.
Yeah, but it'd be like, it would be way less of a problem at that point. Like if you're only making $50,000 a year, but you're also like fucking making a killing on the fucking stock market because of shit, people would have way less of a problem with that than if you were already a fucking millionaire and you're making more millions because you're taking advantage of your position. My point behind thinking that is because I think people who actually give a shit are going to try to do the job more. And I think it also makes sure that the person always stays focused on the one goal, which is making sure the people that they represent are moving forward and getting better.
Can't you just let me hate boomers?
You can all you want. You can hate boomers all you want.
The funny thing is, I actually I get along really well with a lot of these older people. It's just things about them that I like. I told you the story the other day about the guy who started crying and like told me his life story and all that stuff. And I think like I had some prejudice about that. Well, not really prejudice, but it's more so I made a bunch of assumptions about him because I'm like, he's an older guy.
Yeah.
Why is this man telling me all this stuff and crying? So my assumption is he probably doesn't have anyone to talk to, especially since his wife is dead. And two, he comes from a generation where like, you can't go to therapy. Therapy's gay. So.
Well, I mean, it was also his time. It was his time to let it out. Right? Like you can't plan that. Sometimes you're just sitting on a street corner holding the beer and fucking burst into tears.
It happens a lot.
I've been there.
To me, and it's probably just because I actually listen. So people start telling me stuff and I just say, yeah.
Yeah, that and the blank expression on your face at times, that helps.
So they just go on?
Yeah.
Because
they just keep going because they think you're listening even though you're not.
Well, I was listening. But
I know you were.
I was listening. It's just that it was unexpected for somebody to just trauma dump on me. All of the...
Wow.
Well, I mean, what else would you call that? Talking about how like you were beaten as a child, you went to the military.
How about God? The dude was letting you in.
Yeah,
he was letting you get to know him.
So the guy who
letting
just
you into his
fixed your
private
phone
world. Yes,
but a lot of these. So I was saying I do get along well with a lot of these older people.
You
and
do.
I find like ways to connect with them.
Yeah.
But I do find certain things irritating about some of the older generation. Okay. And one of them is the not understanding how anything works. But they get...
You know you're going to get there one day, right?
Well, it's this...
You're going to get there one day.
It would be different if some people... I'm just generalizing. Yeah. It would be different if they came in with a little bit of humility and a little... like if they were a little bit humble. Dude. But when you come in and you demand...
Dude.
You demand help for something, right? And you don't understand that what you're asking somebody to do is not their job and has nothing they can fix. Like if you... for instance, if you lock yourself out of your Apple account, right? I can't fix that.
That's not the age. You work in fucking Newport, Rhode Island.
No, it's the same anywhere. I've worked in other locations.
I'm telling you, it's the money. I'm telling you that some of that entitlement you're seeing is because of the fucking money.
Like, well, there's also a lot of poor people in that area too.
Yeah, because there's a lot of rich people too.
But it's what happens is they don't understand and they make assumptions. They think that, well, because this thing is on my phone, that means you can fix it for me. But they don't understand that, like, if you lock yourself out of Facebook, I can't fix that.
We get because they don't. So they see Facebook on their phone because it's right in front of them.
But that's what I find irritating is that you
because
assume,
they don't know the inner workings of how the internet works.
No, it's
or how a computer works.
Right, but if you don't, then you shouldn't walk in somewhere and like demand help. And but if you try to explain to them, well, I can't really fix that because what do you mean you can't fix stuff? It's like, dude, calm the fuck down. That has not like we provide service for your device. We don't like control Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, but to them, everything in the phone has to do with you because you're the one who gave them the phone.
Right. But that's what I find irritating is if you came in and you had that issue, at least come in with like a little bit of humility or like, hey, I really need help. Okay. But if you come in and you start like barking at me, I'm like, yeah, fuck
you're a fucking customer and they're old. Sorry, they're customers and they're old. You work there. Like, I don't know how you forgot this principle about customer service. I don't appreciate
the barking at people. I'm like, then that just makes me want to say fuck off.
Fucking working in retail. Okay, so here's a little lesson for all you youngins who are going to go into retail or are already working retail. You are looked at as a fucking servant. Okay? You will be treated like a fucking servant. As in the person in front of you, the customer, will treat you as if you need to rectify every problem they got and they can talk to you any way they want. And you can't utter a word
Isn't that like
that's how they're going to act.
I feel like that's less common with like millennials and Gen Z and stuff. I feel like that's more of an older person mentality.
Unless they work in the trades, because some of those younger fucking plumber motherfuckers who come into my store, that's how
a lot of the younger people that I deal with, like when I say younger, I mean like people in their 30s and 20s and stuff like that. They're typically way more patient. In fact, when they see the old people doing shit like that, they're like, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, only because it's an old person. They view themselves as being young. Y'all are going to get there one
But
day.
it's the, I don't know.
you will be that old man
I
who
don't
walks
think
into
that
a store.
I would ever walk into a store and
Yes, you
start
will.
demanding things. Like,
I've been a customer for 40 fucking
Yeah,
years.
they didn't think that shit in their 30s either, but that's where they are.
I have hemorrhoids.
Yeah, wait till you get one.
5G is giving me cancer.
Wait, I can only imagine you probably believe that. But
RFK Jr. says that the vaccines,
I knew you were gonna work
Tylenol's
that in
giving
there.
me autism.
Yeah, I knew you were going to work that in there somewhere. All right, so you will be there one day. And part of it is the fact that they're old.
I think that
And some of
RFK
it's
Jr. doesn't
about-
like 5G because the brain worms pick up on the radio
Yeah.
frequencies and it's like
Yeah.
disturbing them.
Yeah, they're dancing on his fucking brain. You're going to be there one day. And that old person will be dead. And then the younger person standing in front of you is going to make a podcast and
Maybe.
bitch and moan about
Maybe.
how you came in
Maybe.
demanding that your amazing glasses or your hollow phone on your arm has nothing to do with them. They
Maybe.
just provided you the implant. or
Maybe.
some shit.
Maybe.
You will. You will.
Maybe. But
I almost
it's still
guarantee-
fucking annoying.
I'm not saying it's not. By the way, I have not once said it's not annoying and you need to get over it. I didn't say that once. I am saying, though, is you yourself
I'm actually very patient.
need to have
So because I don't, I
need
still
to have the understanding and compassion that you're
I do.
asking for. From
So
other- no, you don't.
hold on. Listen, I help
Okay.
them all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
And I still, even when I find them annoying, I still help them and I'm still nice to them.
Yeah.
I'm still polite.
Because you're
But-
doing your job.
But
You're
when
being
they,
paid.
but when they walk out the door, I'm like, wow, that guy was a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
asshole.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about that shit? Like, I am decent to people whether you're paying me or not. I still swear a lot and say dickish things whether you're paying me or not. I actually take it as a matter of pride. Maybe I shouldn't because somebody's probably going to, but I actually take it as a matter of pride that I treat people decently. I'm not going to say good because that's up to other people to decide. I treat people decently whether I'm being paid or not because that's just who I am. Right?
I do the same.
And
But I'm just saying, I still
yeah,
find.
but
people-
I don't talk shit when people walk away. I'd rather just tell you in your
Oh
fucking
no,
face.
I do find certain people's behavior to be. Sometimes I do. It depends on if they're crossing a line, then I do say it to their face. But if they're just like annoying because they're confused and old,
Mhm.
then I'm just like, whatever. Like I feel bad for them a lot of times. I'm like, oh, this person clearly doesn't know what the hell they're doing. So a lot of times I feel bad for them. I feel pity.
Oh my god, you feel pity. For
I do
anybody.
because
Oh
they're
my
old and
God.
confused and
Oh my
senile.
God. Oh
I do. I feel bad. But you know what happens though? A lot of times
Uh-huh.
when I go out of my way to help these people,
Yeah.
even though they're annoying, they give me
Oh.
money. A lot of times they give me
Oh
tips.
my
They don't have to do
God.
that. I got a $100 tip once from a guy
Jesus, Mother Teresa,
for
we
helping
should give you a
somebody.
fucking
I didn't do
medal
it for
being
money. I didn't know he
nice.
was going to give me money. I did something that wasn't really my job to help him fix a problem. He gave me a $100 bill.
Yeah, you went above and beyond, and somebody rewarded you for it.
I'm just
Look at that
complaining.
shit.
I think
I know,
that
and I'm not trying
lately
to say you
it's
don't have
been-
a right to the way
lately
you
it's
feel.
been a lot of like annoying, angry people just like being dicks. And so at
That
some
was
point,
annoying me.
I like to I'm complaining just to get off my chest because
I
people
know.
are fucking
I
douchebags.
know,
And then
yeah.
it's the oh, your generation ruined everything. We had it so
Blah,
much
blah,
better.
blah.
You could afford houses if you just stopped drinking your $5 lattes. I was like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, okay. Except I know some fun facts about their generation they don't like to hear out loud because I've pointed it out to some old people that not only work for me, but also come into the store. That their generation also had a drastically higher amount of alcoholism, drug abuse, spousal abuse, and SAing their partners. Drastic, much larger amount. And yet, supposedly, they were doing so much better. You're right, because you made that money during the day, and then you went home, got drunk, beat your wife, and then you could buy a house. Look at you, you dick. I think, so here's one thing I will say about younger generation that I actually appreciate more than older generation. Older generations are more willing to, they'll claim it's being more, they'll tolerate more, but they're not. I like that the younger generation is more willing to voice shit. I appreciate the hell out of that. I also don't think that the younger generation is lazier than any other generation. I think every generation has their assortment of growth period when they first become adults and they are figuring out what a work ethic is. But I appreciate that the younger generation actually gives a shit and is trying to understand one another better. The older generation don't give a fuck. Like, you have to live up to some expectation that nobody can reach, nobody can live up to, but you have to try to live up to it too.
I just think Gen
none
Alpha,
of them are happy.
I just thank Gen Alpha for not burning everything to the ground. You know,
Alpha? Which one's Gen Alpha?
the one after Gen Z.
Which one's Gen Z?
Gen Alpha are like the people becoming adults now.
So which one is my son?
Gen
The 16-year-old.
Gen Alpha.
He's Alpha?
Yeah.
And my 19-year-old's an Alpha?
I have to look at the exact dates. Or
Okay.
something like that.
I fear for the world then.
Anyway,
not really.
I'm saying
Not
Gen
really.
Z-
They're wonderful people.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I'm saying I give them credit for not burning the whole thing to the ground, considering how fucked the world is.
Dude, they're in their early 20s. They don't know how to burn the world down yet.
Well, I mean, they're
Give them
gonna
5
if they go to
years.
college, if they can afford to, they're gonna come out of college and not be able to find a decent paying job.
Yeah,
and-
no, they can afford to go. It's the debt they will have afterward that's gonna fucking crush them.
and not be able to get a job that pays well enough for them to pay off the loans or get a house.
That's exactly right.
You're gonna be 30 years old and living with roommates because rent is fucking $6,000 a month.
Oh, no, I actually do feel bad for that because I don't. I get market value and I get like free market kind of thing, but I don't think people understand that if you keep going up and if you keep dumping your bills on your tenants, like you ain't gonna have tenants.
Yeah.
Like there's a landlord.
Well, that's my point with the UBI thing is that
yeah.
if nobody is working and nobody has money, nobody can afford to buy any of the products that you're making.
Right. Well, a bunch of people don't understand it. They claim there are jobs out there, and every time I say, yes, but how many of those jobs pay for a basic apartment here in town? Everybody says the same thing. Well, I mean, you got to make it work. How do you make it work? And that's the thing.
Not to mention
like,
that there's a bunch of job listings that are ghost jobs. I don't know if you've heard of that.
yeah, I've heard
A lot
of
of companies
those jobs.
post listings that aren't real.
Yeah. Well, there's far too many jobs that exist that don't pay enough for a person to be able to afford a car to get to that job. And that's a problem. And man, God.
Well, the problem's complicated because you can only pay somebody how much they're making you. Like you can't pay somebody more than the money that they're providing for the company.
Okay.
Right. So if you
So-
produce $20 an hour, I can't pay you more than $20 an
Yeah, but
hour because I'm losing money.
How do you add that up monetarily
It's-
in retail?
You can figure it out, but it's a mathematic formula. You figure out how
The
much.
the reason why I'm shaking my head is because I can't tell you at between 9 and 10 on a Tuesday if my employees made enough money for me because they don't control the customers walking in the door. So I can't blame them if nobody comes in for that hour of 9 and 10 on Tuesday. I can't
Right.
blame them.
Well,
for
you would
that.
look at how much money is a company making,
Uh-huh.
and that's how much you need to for operation expenses, and
Uh-huh.
how much you can
Yeah,
easily
yeah,
figure
I
out.
mean,
And then
that-
at some
that's
point, you either
basic
have to raise
salary.
prices. But what my point is that it's complicated because on one hand, if you run a small business, you can only afford to pay people so much.
Mhm.
But the problem is inflation and the cost of everything rising. Like inflation, the cost of goods,
Yeah,
the
but
cost of
so-
living is higher.
So, but that's part of the. So to me, that's part of the issue is because landlords, when the taxes go up,
Yeah.
they immediately raise rents,
Yeah.
even though it's their property.
Yeah.
So nobody who lives in their apartments, none of their salaries went up, but now you're going to charge them more to cover your bills to make sure you make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And that's acceptable. And I get for the landlord that, that's how it should happen. But everybody who lives in that apartment complex or that apartment building, right? Their rent keeps going up, but their dollar amount, how much they make at a job doesn't go up.
I
And
don't-
somebody says, well, go get another job.
I don't think
they can't.
I don't think landlords should exist for the most part.
Then who owns the property?
Like you get all these people out there that are buying up houses to use as Airbnbs and stuff like that, or renting them out.
Yeah.
I don't think that you should make the majority of your income by renting out property to other people.
I don't think so either. But then again, I don't own a rental property, so
I'm not
what do I
saying
know?
that I would support legislation to forcefully take away property from people, but I'm just saying that I have a kind of a moral issue with somebody making their entire living off of other people's ability to live. So
Mhm.
me being born in this world, I have to pay to live on the world that I'm born into. So I have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
choice in the matter. I'm just born. and you say, I have to pay to exist and live here, unlike every other creature on the planet. I have to pay just to exist.
Yeah. And somebody would say, well, duh, just go get another job.
Well,
Yeah,
it's fine
there isn't
until
one.
rents are fucking $6,000
Right. And
in a shitty part of town.
And even if they weren't, man, like straight up, the fact that we're okay with paying somebody just because their job is retail, we're okay with paying them less than what it would cost for the average apartment in the town they live in.
I don't even think
Like,
that
I don't
the
understand how
small
you-
businesses like wages are necessarily the problem. The problem is the cost of living, the cost of groceries and inflation.
No,
And
no,
like
we-
if somebody made $20 an hour, but
Okay.
things cost what they used to,
Yeah.
it would be a problem.
Right,
the
but
problem is
that's-
that the amount of money you make doesn't go very far. But at the same
Okay.
time, your company, right?
Yeah.
Your business is not necessarily making more money. The small business that you work for, they're
Uh-huh.
not necessarily making a lot more. So you can only afford to pay the people working for you so much to keep the business active and profitable, so that you don't have to close the door.
How profitable?
Profitable enough that you can keep the lights on at least, and so that the person who owns the business can get a paycheck.
So I think
A lot of small businesses barely break even.
Yeah, you're right. And they're small.
Right.
What about Walmart? What about Target? What about
Well,
Home Depot? What about Lowe's? What about my major gripe is not with the guy who owns Sal's Pizzeria on the corner of fucking every downtown in the United States. Sal got 25 people to work for him, and Sal barely makes $60,000 a year. Like, motherfucker can't afford to pay his people more, and I get that for Sal. I have a problem, with people who own a business and have rental properties, and they're not willing to pay the people who work for them, who also rent from them, enough money to even live in their own fucking apartment.
You can't really fix
And-
that problem having the type of system we have, having
No, because we care more about making profit than we do about taking care of people.
but why? It's because
Why do we care more about profit? Because people say fuck everybody else.
well,
I mean, I'm just going to break that
I'm
down
looking
pretty
for a
simple.
specific reason, the stock market. Because of
Because of shareholders?
exactly, because of the stock market, because of shareholders.
Yeah.
In fact, the legal precedent is that the company's fiduciary duty is to the stockholders, not to the employees.
Okay. So that's a problem.
Actually, I read something not too long ago. I don't know if it's true. I'm assuming it's true because I didn't actually look it up. But it was basically that when Ford started making a lot of money,
Yeah.
that he wanted to increase the wages of all of his employees.
Yeah.
By a significant amount.
Mhm.
And he got sued by the Dodge brothers because the Dodge brothers owned
Yeah.
a bunch of stock in Ford. And
Yeah.
they sued him. And that was the court case where the court said, no, your duty is to the shareholders, not to your people.
Because the shareholders are partial owners of the company.
Right.
Yes.
So they didn't allow Ford to increase the wages for his people because
Yeah.
he wanted to give his employees more
He
money.
wanted to pay them correctly.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's a problem. And
Not
one of the
that
reasons
Ford
why
was
I think
a great guy, but
and it wasn't necessarily. One of the reasons why I find it to be a problem is because every quarter a company has to continually increase its profits.
right.
Okay. The problem with that is that means you have to increase your prices. You have to cut your labor. You have to figure out how to invest.
That's what
more.
they're doing with AI.
Okay. Yeah. But the other side of that is you're taking more money away from people that you could be paying more who could then buy shit at your place,
Yeah.
opposed to you making it more difficult for them to live, which means they don't have a place to live nor have a car to get to work. Now you lose employees.
Oh, there's also
which is great for your labor cost, except for you don't have enough people to run your fucking store.
it's a double-edged sword because on one hand, right, you have to find new ways to make money. So one of the ways you can do that is also innovation, coming out with new and better products that people want. If you solve a problem someone has, right, and you come up with a good product, like when Apple first came out with the iPhone, nobody was like, "That's stupid. Why would you want that?" And now everybody has a smartphone.
There were also things behind the scenes that forced that kind of shit to happen.
My point in saying that is that innovation and coming up with new and better products to make people's lives more comfortable and better is a good thing. On the flip side of that, right, there's only so many ways you can try to find ways to make money. So
Yeah.
if you're a telephone company like I work for, there's only so many ways you can charge people for data and cell phone connection.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to get creative in how do you increase your stock value? Cut labor, or you increase people's bills, their prices they're paying per month. You reduce benefits or promotions that you're giving them. Or you find other ways to tack on fees and stuff. Like, what else can you do? There's only so many ways you can make more money. If you're in a business where you're inventing new products and you come up with something that makes the world better, okay, that's one thing. But if you're just nickel and diming,
made the world better.
well, I'm just saying that people, what's happening now
Yeah,
in the cell phone industry is people are just getting nickel and dimed more,
yes,
like they used to do. Like
that's what happens.
because they have to find a way to make more money, so they're just charging customers more fees. And
That to me, I think, is the crux of the whole problem. Is every quarter they have to make more. It's not we made $20 billion this quarter, and next quarter we can make another 20 billion. No, we have to make 21 billion. And it's this constant push and drive to always make more than we did last quarter, which apparently started in the 80s, by the way. There was some guy that it's attributed to this whole idea of like quarterly profits are the most important, and you always constantly want to
even though a lot of
revise them
times
or some
people
shit.
don't look at the long-term
Yeah.
strategy, they just look at quarter to quarter
Right,
rather than
right.
like, what's your 10-year plan for this business?
Yeah. Like nobody's giving a shit about the company lasting X amount. They just give a shit about the quarter. And then they give quarterly bonuses to their CEOs.
You know what's funny is my company's actually gone down a lot. The stock has dropped a lot since they started pushing AI on everybody. Customers don't like it.
No shit.
They're forcing customers to interact with AI, and our stock dropped from like 270 down to like 220, which is a good drop.
Did you just say 220?
Yeah, our stock was like 270 a share, and now it's like 220. But that's a significant drop.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I hope it keeps going. And I hope every company that fucking starts to employ all of this new tech, it fucking decreases to the point where I can start buying it.
Well, I understand why they want to use AI. It's just that what are the long-term consequences for humanity and the long-term consequences for us as a nation?
Yeah, but they don't care. They don't give a shit, man. Like that's the problem with working profit quarter to quarter is they don't give a shit about what happens to the people they're fucking with in a year. They don't care because they're fine.
All right, we do have to wrap up soon. Is there anything you wanted to mention or go over or talk about before we?
I mean, I could continue to bitch and moan about this side of.
We started with
business
people
but-
being genocided, and now we're talking about. No, it's okay. I
don't have much to say about it because, honest to God, I know people are fucking wicked and horrible, and fucking somebody's going to try to kill somebody.
The main thing that's been on my mind is not only like all the violence going on in the world, but the thing that we're talking about, sort of the income inequality, and it's not necessarily just like boomers' fault. It's more so the fault of like corporations that are greedy and people who are who have money. You know, the rich people.
It's humans. Humans get greedy. Humans crave power and influence, and money gives them both.
I wrote a poem recently, which is the entire thing is an allegory about greed and about it's an allegory. It's about a tree.
Would you like to read it?
No.
And then we can have people comment.
Man, if you want.
Yeah, fucking read it, man. It's our podcast. We get to do what we want.
So I mean, I think you'll.
And it's something you like writing poetry. So rock and roll.
It's called The King Oak.
So let's make sure we clip this directly.
All right. In some forgotten quadrant of the wood, the monarch oak holds solitary throne, a green colossus over splintered kin, a lush green tower amongst a barren cemetery. He claims the bedrock's yield, the deep decree. This bounty is the tribute owed to me. He draws the final drop, the closing sun, the very riches that his growth has outrun. It was not always so. Before his many rings, before his bark became cavernous, he was a promise in a simple shell, the acorn cradled where the good things dwell, a sapling nursed by shared and easy light, an unassuming heir to the forest heights. The sprout ascended to that vibrant hum. The loam was deep, the canopy was wide, a balanced contract where all things abide. The birds sang loud, the ants kept busy trails, and life drank deep from open, generous wells. But the contract frayed beneath his stretch of years. The quiet giving turned to grasping fears. His tender branches scaled to claim the height. He drank the luxury, he stole the light. His skin grew hard, a fortress soon to find, and in that strength he left the world behind. Then came the rings that marked a different age, when other sprouts began to turn a page. The budlings rose, ambitious, small, and new, but found the promised bounty untrue. They felt the drought his massive shadow cast, the wealth he claimed too powerful to last. They whispered low, a sapling chorus strained. The shade is deep, the summer sun is drained. What keeps you grand while we can barely root? The king oak spreads a crown of bitter fruit, and boomed his answer from the barren ground. No echo of sharing could be found. Don't look at me, blave the invasive species. He reigns supreme, a monument of greed, a lonely giant planted from a single seed. He will not thin his shadow, bend his reach. His conquest is the only law they teach. The younger trees, too starved to rise or fight, are shadows clinging to the edge of light.
Great job. That was an original poem by Steve.
But it's an allegory for greed.
Yeah.
The tree is basically sucking up all of the resources, and
Yeah.
but the point of it is, like, if you don't give a fuck about anybody else, or in this case, the tree not giving a fuck about all the new trees,
Right.
or the younger trees, that there's nothing left for the rest of the people to flourish.
Right. Because there won't be. And yeah, we're out of time. We'll pick that up again some other time, because no conversation is ever done on this show. We always pick up on another episode at another time. So for this episode, thank you very much for listening. Please like, follow, subscribe, hype us, like us, something on some social media, do any of it, but please leave some comments, interact with us a little bit. We would very much appreciate it. And, tell Steve if you like it or dislike his poem.
I know you don't like poetry. It's okay.
I just don't like all poetry. Like, it's all.
But you
of
get
it.
the point of it.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you get the point of what. That particular
once you
poem.
explained it to me. Everybody, don't ever send me a poem, because I won't understand it, and I don't care. I don't like poetry.
It's a greedy tree sucking up all the nutrients and resources.
Yeah. Okay. So
It's an allegory for the older people not leaving anything for the younger people. Well, the older and the rich people.
I was about to say, because it's not just old.
No,
people.
older and rich. Part of that was like, don't blame me, blame the invasive species. Like,
Yeah.
Passing the buck off to immigrants and other
They
people.
blame something else.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, thank
Pee-pee
you very
poo-poo.
much.